Have you ever felt stuck in your art practice or somehow just wondered what to create and not really feeling like you want to grab specific art supplies and create something? If that's something you have felt, then this video is for you. Because I have felt the same recently, and even though inspiration has been everywhere and I've seen these beautiful landscapes around me when I've taken my daily walks, and there is so much I would like to create, and there are so many things and subject matters that interest me, but somehow it has still felt like I don't exactly know where to start. So I think that whenever that happens and when I get that feeling, the best thing for me to do is really to stop and observe what I can see around me in the nature and then just get started. And this was one evening that I felt like I want to just create something and take the pressure out. And I also realized that I haven't been using my acrylic gouache in ages. I think I've had this acrylic gouache for a couple of years already, and I've only used it like a handful of times. I also happen to have this sketchbook, which I have no idea what kind of paper this is and what it's meant for, but I just thought, okay, I'm going to take this sketchbook out that I rarely use, I'm going to take out my acrylic gouache, and I'm just going to create some landscapes. So this is going to be your very low pressure, let's just get inspired, let's just create something pretty and something that will make us happy kind of video. So if you feel like you need some extra boost of inspiration today, or you just want to have a relaxing art moment, then this is the video for you. Whenever I feel like I want to take the pressure out of my art practice and I just want to quickly get back into creating something, it really helps me to keep the scale pretty small. So as you can see here, I have divided the page so that I only have 4 little squares there, and that way it actually takes only a few minutes to complete each of these, and none of them have to be perfect. So I think it's a perfect way to kind of take the pressure out and just get your creativity flowing and get you back to the creative stage if that's something that you've been missing. I haven't been working that much with acrylic gouache, and I have to say I'm still a whole beginner to this medium, but I really enjoy it, and I enjoy how easy it is to use. For example, compared to watercolor, it's very different, obviously, but I think it's very fun medium for these kinds of quick nature sketches. I also love how vibrant colors you can get and how easy it is to mix the colors. As you can see, I don't have a huge selection of colors here. I think I've only used 8 colors or so throughout this video, but you can see that I can create endless kind of color mixes, and that's what really makes me, it always gives me so much joy. And as you know, here on my channel, we are all about slowing down, enjoying your art practice, and observing nature. So I think this is the perfect practice for that. Throughout these 4 small paintings, you can see me really experimenting, seeing how these colors work together, what kind of beautiful color mixes I can discover, and how the gouache layers. And this paper, as said, I have no idea what paper this is, what kind of paper it is. It's not meant for wet medium. I think it's probably meant for pastels or something like that. But it is thick enough so that it can handle a little bit of water. I would never ever use it for watercolor, but with acrylic gouache I can get away with much less amount of water, and that way I think it works real well for these. But that being said, it also then behaves differently from having that perfect, really good quality paper. And that also took the pressure away, because I realized very soon that, okay, everything I'm gonna create here will be an experiment, because I'm not sure how this paint will behave on this paper. And that sometimes, as said, if you feel like you don't know what to create and you feel pressure, or you just want to have a very, very relaxing art session. Maybe just take out some of the art supplies that you rarely use and some sketchbook that has been neglected for whatever reason, and then just start creating. And in the end, you can see the four small paintings that I created. I was really happy with the outcome, and I had really good time during this. I would say it was probably less than an hour that it took, and it really took me back to the creative flow and gave me so much joy. I wanted to keep all these four landscapes in a bit different. So I'm still using the same colors and same kind of color mixes so that they kind of go together. It will create a really nice coherent page on this sketchbook, but I still wanted to kind of keep them a bit different. So the first one is very much about these fields and forests, kind of very traditional summer landscape, the kinds that we see a lot here where I live. And the second one, I wanted to paint some seas, so basically just make a seascape and experiment how I can make a bit, I would say, more cloudy or moody kind of feeling to this painting. Then the third one is all about kind of a park and walk in a park, forest and park kind of summer walk. And then the fourth one will be about mountains, and that's when I go all in with the color mixes. So I said I wanted to make them kind of a series of summer landscapes, but still keep the mood and the actual subject matter a bit different so that there is some interest. That's also what helps me, that I can challenge myself just a bit, but not too much, and I find it then interesting, and it's so much fun to create something like that. One thing I wanted to also talk about today is the beauty of limited palettes. You know, I've been talking about this also earlier on my channel, and yes, I have a fair selection of different watercolors. I have loads of colored pencils, and there are certain art supplies that I have a kind of large selection of. But I still like to select kind of more limited palettes for each of the art pieces that I create. And for example, as you've seen, I create these seasonal palettes for my Inktense pencils and for my watercolors and so on. And this is something that just helps me to get to the creative state. Not sure why that actually happens, but even here you can see that I said I only use probably like 8 different colors. One of them is white. And I can create endless amounts of different greens or grays, blues, browns with these. And that comes to show that you don't always need those huge sets of art supplies, especially if you are just beginning your art journey, but also if you're more experienced. And I've seen that even though I've been creating art for, let's say, like 35 years or something, and I have a good selection of art supplies, but it's still, I would say, the amount of supplies I have is reasonable. And I want to keep it that way because, first of all, I don't want to clutter my house with endless art supplies that never get used. I don't want my art supplies to kind of expire so that I have to throw them out without using them. But also, I find it so overwhelming when you have too much of something. And yes, I'm not saying that you can't kind of grow your collection of art supplies and have a good selection of different colors and pigments. That's totally fine. I'm not judging anyone here, just saying what works for me and what I've realized during the years. And I've realized that I have certain favorite colors and I have certain favorite color mixes that just work for me. And even though I know that, for example, when I have my large watercolor palette, the one that I mainly use whenever I'm painting at home, and I think it has something like 28, 30 different colors in it. But that's pretty much the maximum amount of colors that I want to have at in one palette. And the reason why that came to my mind here is that I only have this very limited set of acrylic gouache, and I don't actually feel the need of adding any to this selection. Especially since this is a medium that I don't use all the time, and I only use it for these kinds of I would say always paint landscapes whenever I use this. It's pretty much always landscapes or some kind of small illustrations. But this set has, I have like basic colors and then some additional kind of convenience colors, and they just worked really well for my art style. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is that very often here, especially in social media, we see people with huge collections of art supplies, and that's wonderful. I mean, who doesn't enjoy watching endless amounts of watercolor or colored pencils? That's entertainment, and that's exactly what it ought to be. But I fear that sometimes people feel that they can't create something if they don't have specific art supplies. And what I'm always trying to tell myself is that learn to love what you already have. You probably already have something, and you can definitely create something beautiful with it. And that was the case for me when I wanted to again take this little set of acrylic gouache out of the drawer where it's been for, I would say, several weeks now. And I wanted to again learn to love it and learn to use it for this kind of quick sketching, which I know I love to do with it. And I want to use it. I don't want it to go to waste. So that's my message for you today, that find that one art supply that you haven't been using for a while and just take a moment to think what has really inspired you during the past weeks or so, especially if you've been taking walks or sitting outdoors, or I mean, even if you're in the middle of some winter storms, who knows where you are and what kind of weather you're experiencing, you might have seen something that's just, amazing. And it's always amazing how much inspiration and beauty nature can really offer us. So take that and take your sketchbook, maybe the one that you have been neglecting, and take some art supplies that need more love and just create something that brings you joy. I'm sure you'll feel a lot more grounded and maybe even a hint happier afterwards. while you watch me adding the final touch to these little paintings, I wanted to thank you for your support. Thank you for watching the video, and I really hope that you've enjoyed this one. And if you have, please give it a like and comment below so that I know that you maybe like to see more of these kinds of relaxing, I wouldn't say it's not like a tutorial or paint with me kind of video, but more of me and my thoughts about art and my thoughts about art supplies and watching and relaxing painting session. I guess that's the kind of video this is all about. Also, let me know what you do, what kind of practice helps you when you feel that you are not somehow creating as much as art as you'd like. If you ever feel like you are, well, you might be even inspired to create something, but you just don't do that. So let me know what helps you during those times. It's always useful and helpful to hear the tips, and also it's always fun to maybe see if there are some practice that might be useful also for others. So again, thank you for watching, and make sure that during the week to come you will observe nature and see the beauty of the seasons and create something beautiful. I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye for now.